Hello, welcome to Adopted Geordies, brought to you by BetMGM. I'm Andy Jaye. He is the main man, Mr. Rob Lee, and we have a very special guest today. Rob, would you like to do the announcement?
This is my very good friend and fellow Londoner, Warren Barton,
Yay!
centre parting.
Thank you very much. Partner in crime. Partner in crime.
Partner in crime for a long time
but we
until it
won't
got
go
taken
there.
away from me.
Well, that's it. I mean, you did 7 years together at Newcastle United, and it was literally together, wasn't it? It wasn't just on the field. It was, you spent a lot of time in each other's company.
Our family's got on brilliantly. You know, our wives still speak now, so we had quite a few of us, weren't there? Speedo and Al, and we had a little group that met after training and nights out. And
I was the entertainment's manager, so by doing that, I was then making sure, even like Rob said, even our kids would do weekends. We're going out for dinner, we'd go out for lunch, we'd take the kids out, and I think that's one thing. When I first went to Newcastle, it wasn't just that you was going there to play and try and win trophies and compete at the highest level. It's who you was playing with. And itself, John Beresford, who we got on really well with. There was obviously the local lads, Peter Beardsley, that I got to know for England. But particularly that group of players, Shay Given, I'd put in there, Aaron Hughes was around. But Rob, Al, Shay and Gary Speed in particular, we all got on off the field and on the field, which for us makes it a lot easier. So when we was maybe going on tour or was going away, the wives would do things together. So we had a lot of fun in training and obviously when we was playing games, but obviously off the field as well. And as the entertainment manager, I'd pick different hotels around, and if it was someone's birthday, we'd get a coach and drive down to Harrogate or Margate, wherever it might be. Well, not Margate, but that's too far to go, but Harrogate. But we'd go down and we'd have food there on the way with the kids. So yeah, it was a special time, really unique time.
I love it. So let's talk about when you joined, because I think it was Wimbledon you were playing with, wasn't it, in the Prem? And Joe Kinnear was the last of your managers at Wimbledon.
Correct.
So then Kevin Keegan picks up the phone to you. Rob was already at the club. Peter Beardsley was already at the club. You could see it was already moving places. What was that first contact with Keegan like? What did he say?
Well, it's quite unique. Rob probably remember because he was playing in the game. It was Blackburn against Newcastle on a Sunday, or it might have been Bank Holiday Monday actually, and Shearer scored at the far post. Allen against Bez for Blackburn.
Beresford's fault.
Beresford couldn't get off the floor. He was only 5 foot. He couldn't really jump, but Al scored the goal. But what really stood out for me that time is when it was a Monday and there was a game being prepared, and my agent phoned me, and Joe Kinnear actually phoned me up and said, "Get yourself to Kensington Hotel. Kevin Keegan's coming down. They want to have a chat with you." I'd always spoken to David Dean at Arsenal, Kenny Dalglish at Blackburn. I'd spoken to Tommy Burns at Celtic. And there was a bit of, obviously, where I might end up. And me and Les Ferdinand at the same time would be with England, with Rob and he said Peter Beardsley. And it was like, oh, you're going to go here, you're going to go there. But Kevin Keegan, sitting in a reception, very similar to this, gone to the hotel in Kensington. One, for him to come down the day of a game to do that. But then he come over and the same sort of thing, he probably said, look, come and join a big club. And
Nice.
I'd played up there for Wimbledon probably in the February, and I was doing a cool down afterwards, and the atmosphere in the stadium, and I remember talking to Robbie Earl, who was my room partner at the time. I said, imagine playing for this lot, imagine playing in front of this stadium, and that time it was only 36,000. So we was there stretching off, and then Kevin gets on the phone, and then he says to me to get in there, and then when you go and meet him, taps you on the shoulder, said, come and join a big club. And from that instance, like I said, I've spoken to quite a lot of clubs, and David Dean was waiting for Arsene Wenger to come in. But when you meet Kevin, he just has that pull, that aura. And like I said, in the England setups, Steve Howe was being involved. And Barry Venison was actually still at Newcastle at the time, and Veners was brilliant. And he's in Los Angeles now, and I've seen him occasionally. I was actually coming, I wouldn't say to take his place, but he was moving on. Bracewell had gone, and obviously Barry Venison was there. And he said, Warren, you've got to come up there. It's a great club, the people, the city, the manager. And it never disappointed me. It was fantastic. And even though we're both from London, we went up there and they made our family really welcome. And it was a special time. And, you know, someone like Kevin Keegan to come down, I remember watching him in the 70s and looking at him play in the 80s and things like that, and thinking that one day you're going to play for him was magnificent.
I bet that was amazing, because you hear some of these pundits now, and it sort of rankles people on social media and stuff. I'm thinking one in particular, Troy Deeney. You know, I remember he's very recently gone on record to say, why would you go up north? Why would you go and play in Newcastle?
Why would you listen to Troy Deeney? Because I remember when he said about Arsenal, you can do that. And I'm thinking, you know, the Arsenal players must think, if it was Mo Salah or a top, you think, okay,
Thierry
I'll
Henry
take that on board.
Yeah.
But I ain't listening to you. I mean, Troy would probably rip my head off, but I'm not too worried. But, you know, a lovely fella. And it's the same when we had Agbon Nahor, when he was saying about you could rather go to Brentford and less money. Because they've been up there one night out, they've probably been up there in Newcastle. It was a magnificent place. It was a great place. I'm from London, and Rob is, and probably more than Troy and the other two, because I used to go out in London, the nightlife. I used to have a great time with Wimbledon. But for the way the people are up there, it's pretty ignorant to say that. And Troy, as I said, he goes down that avenue and he wants to go down there, but he wouldn't know because he probably couldn't work out what it was like to live outside of London.
Right. I don't think you can comment until you've actually lived there, can you?
No.
Because we were the same when we went up there. I was like, oh, it's cold up here and wet, and I was a couple of years before Warren, but the people were so nice, and actually the area was just, I loved it. I mean, I had rumours about me wanting to go home all the time, as you did, but we just loved it up there. It's still go back there now, which is 30 years later. So.
Can't get rid of him. But it's a unique place, and because like football has always been our life, and we're still talking about it now, 30 years later. But for me, Robert, I don't know whether you're the same, is that I love being at training. I love being around the players in training ground. Even afterwards, we used to be there until 2, 3 o'clock. I mean, normal David Batty used to be gone before we'd even got off the training field. But we'd be there like, having a laugh, joking, and being around.
What is the training day? Because when you say, oh yeah, we'd stay until 2 or 3 o'clock. To people with normal jobs, that still sounds like you're slacking off. Do you know what I mean? Oh, would you? You've been doing these 4 hours of work.
We dropped the kids off. So yeah, a normal day, like where we was training, would be drop the kids off at school, which was normally between 8:30, and then we'd be in at training at say 8:30, 9 between that time. Training's normally what 10:30.
10:30,
yeah, 10:30 I would say. So we'd drop in at 9. You'd go upstairs. You'd have your tea or whatever. You'd be chatting, a bit of breakfast. Then it all starts. Like the fun starts then because you're all having a laugh. And what was really strange for me at Wimbledon, we'd go into training at Durham, Chesley Street. There might be 3,000-4,000 people there before you go into training.
Brilliant.
There was a hamburger stall where Kevin watched training once. On top of it, him and Terry McDermott sat on top of having a bacon sandwich and a sausage sandwich and a cup of tea, watching us train. And there was like 4,000 people. I never got that from my home games for Wimbledon at Sellers Park. So you're going into that. So it would take you another 20, 30 minutes to get out your car, sign the autographs and pictures, and you wanted to do it. And you had, and also, Rob, you had to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of the things they made sure, like Lee Clark or Peter Beardsley, Steve Watson, you know, make sure you look after your fans. And Kevin and Terry Mack used to do it. So you have to sign all your autographs, go in, get changed, go upstairs. And I remember John Beresford telling you about where we used to train. It was like mixture with university students and stuff like that. But we'd go upstairs, they'd be, you know, doing a little bit of breakfast for us, which it wasn't all like cereal now and yogurts. It was probably a egg bacon and
proper breakfast.
Proper
Nice.
So we'd have that, and then if you needed a little bit of treatment, you'd wait until the students are finished, and then you could go in and have some treatment, and then we'd probably play a bit of head tennis, and then you'd go out and start training. Then afterwards, you know, you'd get showered, have some food, and then you might do a bit of crossing and finishing. You might do a little bit of weights. You'd be around. You'd go back upstairs. You'd have some food. Maybe then the traffic would be about 2:30, and then you'd just start making your way home. But you'd always stay around, and sometimes people would just be lounging around, i.e. Rob. Didn't spend too much, him and Al didn't spend too much time in the gym.
Really?
But he'd come up and he'd hammer you because, like, you want to work on your touch, let alone on the weights. So we'd go and do, you know, things like that. And, so you're right, it is different. But then the time you get home, you have a little siesta, you have your rest, which is important for me. And then it goes again, and then you're ready to go again and be back home.
Do you know, I bet whoever owned that burger van was an absolute entrepreneur.
Ice cream van as well.
Yeah, I bet they made a fortune. Who put a shift in then? Who was a good trainer? Who was it? You say Batty rushed off early.
I was a good trainer.
Were you?
He was a very good trainer.
I was because I was crap at everything else. I was a good trainer. I trained. Speedo was good. Yeah. Rob was.
I was good as a game on this. So there's a game, a 5-a-side, 8-a-side. I was at it. If it's running, I would.
His saviour, though, when we used to do pre-season, Bez was a good runner, athletic, and the rest of there's a little group, but Al hates running. You would run 100 metres. As soon as that head started rolling, he was struggling. We'd be off. Like I was like a whippet running, and that was it. I was chasing away. And then there'd be him at the back moaning with someone, but then he had his mate Al with him as well. So we would do it, but then come into it. But yeah, there was like Bez was fit, myself.
We used to have a river run from Durham, and Keegan used to set us off in groups. So it was like the slowest group went first.
Brilliant.
And it was only 12 minutes. So Gloucester went first.
He left 10 minutes before us.
So a minute later, the second group came. And the third group were the fastest group. So we got a 3-minute start on a 12-minute run. By the time we get halfway, which is the bridge at Durham, then I can hear them coming behind. Me and Al can hear these coming behind us. Oh, God, they're caught.
And when you're doing this, are you just jogging, chatting to Al, or are you giving it something?
No, he's trying to do it.
He's trying to do it.
I just couldn't run if it wasn't the ball. I just couldn't run. There's no ball. I can't run. And Al was like, next to me, and we can hear them coming. You know, they got these tops, and they go, shh, 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 shh.
We weren't even breathing. It was like a big rhinoceros. I said, "You're right."
Set up like that.
Who was the quickest then? Was it someone like a Gillespie?
He was quick, sprinting.
Yeah,
but
not
a long distance.
Not distance.
They could do long distance running.
I was up there, but Wimbledon, we used to do that the same thing at like Richmond Park, and we used to go off and do the run, big loop, and Joe Kinnear was doing that, and we had Big John Fashanu, who was not a runner.
Yeah,
again, didn't like running. And they had all the stags and deers in Richmond Park. It was lovely, you know, and we go out there and we were like getting ready for the Olympics. We could all run Wimbledon. So we go up, and then just as you go round the bend, like Rob was saying at Newcastle, there was a little bridge. There was actually a little fence. So we used to get up there, and Fash used to then crawl on his hands and knees underneath the fence along, which was about 250 yards. And there's all the stags and deers. We'd have to go up 3 miles, loop back round. He'd come at the end. He's clever as well. He wouldn't get with the first group. He'd be in the middle, flick a bit of water on him. Brilliant. Well done, Bubbler. Well done, big boy. We're here, we're running. And then he'd come in and he'd go, like, joking here, high five. Oh, well done, Fash. You're brilliant, Fash. So we had that group and we'd go running off.
And he ended up hosting Gladiators.
Gladiators.
What are the chances?
Where did it go wrong? Yeah.
Brilliant. You've got to love that. Let's talk about, because you played, obviously, at your time with Newcastle, you saw quite a few managers. I mean, 7 years, when you think about it now, number of managers I think you played under. Keegan first, Kenny Dalglish, Ruud Gullit, I think.
Are we allowed to say Ruud Gullit in front of Rob?
No, we don't mention Ruud. You know that. Why do you do that?
He starts twitching. Do you ever see it?
There is a little, it's a trigger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why do you do it?
Yeah. He had lovely hair until Ruud comes. He went like that. He went as white as...
Got to talk to you about hair in a minute.
Yeah.
And then Sir Bobby as well. You were there with Sir Bobby too, right? What were they all like? Maybe leave the third one out if you need to, but...
They was all unique in their own way. Kevin was... For me, Robert had him a much longer time than me and a more successful time, got out the Championship, got into the Premier League, done well in the Premier League. So I really only had Kevin for 18 months. And again, you know, when Kevin Keegan says, come and join a club, be with us, he was brilliant, fantastic. And I never forget the first game, like, how many of my family are coming up? We'll put you in a hotel, here's a train ticket.
Brilliant.
He really made sure that everything was okay for you. And you know, when we used to play games, make sure we had food, make sure everything was okay for us as well. So he was brilliant. When things was going well, and probably with Rob, as I said, he had more time, I just felt, and hindsight's a great thing, you know, 20, 30 years later, when it got hot under the collar and things started to happen, he started to change things around, you know, and it got to him, you know, the outbursts, which we love, which we all loved. I'd love it if we beat him, and it still shows now.
Yeah.
And we love Kevin for that. And he was never going to change. And I remember having a chat with Les and Peter Beardsley saying, like, do you think we need to change a little bit? You know, like, we're going forward. We're winning 4-3. We went to Man City. I think we was 3-1 up, draw 3-3. And we said, do you think maybe tactically we need to do something? And Peter said, like, he's never going to change. And I just felt like Tino coming against Middlesbrough, played brilliant. He should have just left the system as it was and left Keith and left, or, you know, but he slid Rob across to the side, accommodated where Peter could get into the team, and then you're chasing everything then. But Kevin Keegan was brilliant. He was never going to change. You know, he was 12 points clear. They had a game in hand, and I know Rob done the interview, and they had a magnificent run, Man United, and they was a great team. I mean, when they beat us 1-0 with Cantona, that's when I really felt like we lost it. Yeah.
So you kind of knew in the squad? Yeah,
we'd had conversations, not openly, and me and Rob probably, but Rob was very focused because he'd had 5 years of success, and that's how they was going to play. Remember, I was an outsider coming in, and we just thought maybe if we do this, and he changed it around. But like Peter said, he's never going to change. And we'd asked Terry Mack, who was the same. So he was always going to go that way and go along and try and win it his way, a bit like Pep.
He was always trying to get too many attacking players in his team. I mean, I saw a video the other day of Leicester. We had Ginola was on the pitch. This was under Kenny, I think. No, under Kevin. Ginola was on the pitch, Tina was on the pitch, Peter was on the pitch, Les was on the pitch, Keith was on the pitch. And I'm thinking, wow, what? I don't even know what formation we played. It was sort of like it was madness. And Warren was right. He was trying to get. I thought Tino was coming in. Peter was getting a bit older to replace Peter. Do you know what I mean? But he came in and done so well, didn't he? Then Keegan's got, I've got to get him in my team. I can't drop Peter out. Keith was the youngest, so Keith got dropped out, didn't he? I went in front of Warren, so I went to the right. Peter came in midfield. It just sort of like changed the dynamics of the team a little bit. But he would never change. It's just the way we played football, you know.
Yeah.
Well, he brought you in because you were known as you were quick and you could attack as well as defend. You know, it wasn't. I'm not saying you were a poor defender, by the way, but he didn't bring you in just because you could defend. No.
You could say that.
No, but you know what I mean. He wanted people to bomb on.
Yeah.
And let's remember, back then that didn't really happen.
No.
There wasn't much.
He was
of
the
that.
first one in the sense where he wanted both your fullbacks to go on, like me and Bez. Because I remember saying to Kevin in one game, like, if John goes up, do you want me? Normally you would come round in the middle in front of the centre halves. He went, no, I want you up. Because then Keith would probably come in, Rob would go in there, Peter's going to come in. And like you said, we might have 6, 7 people in the box or in the final third trying to score a goal, you know. And that's before other teams really sat back like Mourinho and defensively sat back. So tactics-wise, he just wanted us to overload teams, get people in the box, suffocate teams. Like the first 15, 20 minutes, we would win a game at home. We'd be 2-0 up. Yeah. The other teams would be like, I can't believe what's going on. There's players running everywhere. And that carried on from the training, because when we used to train, we would train how we would play. And I know we joke about pre-season, but when the ball come out on there, I remember again, me and Les Ferdinand come to it, and we'd get in a hotel back at Gosford Park. I said, I'm a bit embarrassed, like, did you touch the ball today? He went, no, Wally, I thought it was just me. I went, the ball's flying around everywhere. I said, you know, it was. I mean, the touch, the movement, the passing was at another level, you know. And I know I'd come from Wimbledon, but Les was at QPR with people like Ray Wilkins and obviously good players
also,
there.
I mean, you know, a bit of respect to Wimbledon. You finished 7th, for goodness sake. You know,
but we did it our way.
Weren't a poor side.
No, we was a good team, but we did it our way. I mean, I remember I actually watched the game that when Kevin decided to sign me. We was at home, Wimbledon, was at home against Newcastle, and Vinny tackled him on his chest head and said, I got the ball. He got the ball.
He did.
So that was how, you know, and it wasn't great. It wasn't the perfect football, but we did it what we had to do.
Yeah.
So Kevin was great. Kenny Dalglish, for me personally, I know he gets a lot of criticism, and he shouldn't from the fans, because, you know, Ginola left, Tino left, Les left, but a lot of that was
killed me, Warren. It absolutely killed me.
No,
mate.
I was going to say a lot of people, but for me, and for the only thing with Kenny is he was too honest with the media. He should have blamed us sometimes. Like when we played, it's just like, but Kevin was good at, he did it at Arsenal, said, oh, it was his fault. And it was. And we would take that as criticism and say, yeah, okay, you're right, Gaffer, it was our fault. But Kenny would never do that. He would never criticise us. And even if we played really poorly, it'd say about the ref or it'd say about the opposition. And he really protected us as a group of players. And he got us to a cup final. We finished second in the league. But the style of football, how we was doing it, and obviously the players that we'd lost, the entertainers, was hard for the fans. They'd gone from Kevin Keegan to Dalglish, two legends, but the style of football was totally different. But for us as players, me personally, I thought he was great, how he would look after you, how he would be with the media.
I always said he was good, yeah. I liked him, got on great with him. But I've said it before, I thought the players he bought weren't better than the players he got rid of.
Yeah.
That was our problem, I think.
Some of that was money as well. You know, he brings in, you know, we had John Beresford, which I love. And I couldn't wait to actually come with this, because he brought Pastoni in from Italy.
I like Pastoni. He had good hair, really good hair.
But it was fun. He had lovely eyes. But I was laughing because, again, with Kevin, even if you was Peter Beardsley or Rob captain or Alan Shearer, you never got changed before the manager come in and put the team up.
Right.
So I remember with Bez, and there was always, when it's only natural, if someone's coming in to take your place, you do have that you a dislike, you know, like you're competition and you're competitive and you want to win it. But Pastoni would start getting undressed and putting the kit on. So me, him, and obviously Al and Shay was like, and Bez would say, it could be Bez actually, it's the size of Bez sitting there. He would say, he's fucking out of order, Bez. And you could see the fume coming out of Bez. And unfortunately, the lineup would go up and Pastoni was in the team and things like that. So that was a tough one to take. And obviously Kenny brought him in. Rude come in, the sexy football.
Also, we lost Les, didn't we? We lost Les. I thought
Yeah,
was
we
a
obviously-
major
and, yeah,
blow.
Les-
Well, that's the
Alan
thing.
got
You,
injured.
you talk about money. You know, he signed players off of money, but he didn't need to sell. That's the point. It will
I
always
don't know.
stick in my throat. He
I
didn't need to sell
in,
Ginola.
I was in
didn't need to
Bali
sell
with
Les.
Les. We was away at the time, and he got the phone call from Kenny to say, "I'm bringing John Dale Thomason, who was 21, and he said you may not play all the time."
Wow.
And I was like, "Les, you've just scored 25 goals.
Yeah.
So you're going to play.
Yeah, staying in.
Whatever." No, and typical centre forward. No, Wally, I ain't staying. I'm going. I went, no. Just you ain't. Listen, with all due respect, you and Al up front. He got whatever goals, 27. You got 25. Give it another year. But because of that comment that you're not going to play regular, and then it was like, we'll go to London, be in London with Jerry Francis, who was with him at QPR. You lose Les, and then Al, bloody, unfortunately breaks his ankle in a pre-season friendly against
Everton.
Ajax.
I was there.
I think them two is still the best two players I've seen play together. Les and Al.
Really?
Yeah. When you just come out the dressing room and you look at the opposition, they think, who am I going to pick up? They're both good in the air. They're both quick. They're both strong. I mean, I think to break that up was a major. And if we had one that got injured, we had the other one.
Yeah.
You could play
You'd
John
have
Dale
Tino
Thomason off
as
him,
well.
Tino was there.
Well, in a way, when Duncan Ferguson came in, he was able to do the Les job in a slightly different way.
I think
wasn't
Duncan
he?
came in. I think Duncan came in to replace Alan. I think that was Ruud's idea.
Yeah, we found that out in Holland. Actually, we got
really?
we got the coaching staff and we found that out. Al actually pinned a couple of coaches down and said, "This is what was meant to happen, was it?" And they went like, "Yeah."
Unfortunately, Al signed a 5-year contract with Freddie Shepherd.
Yeah.
Shirt, knackered Ruud.
What was it like? Just a word on Al. It doesn't have to be the Alan Shearer show, but you talk about how he wasn't the best of trainers, certainly in terms of running. But your comment about what he was like for the opposition. What was it like playing with him? Because obviously he's the club's record goal scorer. He's got the statue outside and everything else. He's also your mate. You guys are pals with him. But on the field, was he a different level? Was it just sort of he's saving this one?
I remember with Ginola, we had a pre-season game against Hearts, and I'd never seen. We was playing midfield together, and David was like getting the ball down 50 yards, left foot, right foot turning, and me and him. I said I've never seen anything like that. Then you throw Peter Beardsley, but Alan was. What I loved about Alan, and I said it to him as well, is yes, he was your friend, but he demanded so much off you. If you didn't put a ball in the right area, he would let you know, and he wouldn't hold back. Whether it was Rob, which wasn't too often, but particularly someone like myself or Nobby crossing the ball or Bez, if it weren't where he wanted it, he would let you know. But he was so driven, like, again, even after, we'd walk off at training and he'd say, "Where are you two going?" And I'm going, "Well, we're going to go in and do some work." No, I want you to cross the ball.
Oh, nice.
So you go and do it.
Right.
So it's only probably maybe after that you realise how demanding he was for you and the much respect you've got that he turned down an opportunity to probably win multiple Premier Leagues, Champions League, to have that dream to win a trophy for his club. That was a big sacrifice that he made, and he probably had times where he could have left. Ideally, under Ruud would have been an easier option because they tried to get him out, but he wanted to stay behind. But he was, like Rob said, you'd look across the changing room and you'd have Les, him, Alan, you'd have Ginola, him, Gary Speed, and you think, I've got a chance. I really got a chance. I mean, these are not only are they top players, they're good people and will give you everything. As much as we talk about players being selfish and things like that, they would, and they knew they'd get it off of me. And I never had the ability that they had, but I'd give them everything I've got. And they knew that. And for someone like Alan to be able to do that, he was very single-minded. He got on really well with Rob and just, would do his own thing. But again, once he let his guard down a little bit and you'd have a drink, or not necessarily always to do with alcohol, but with the kids and with the family, he's good company. I think people are seeing the Alan Shearer now, because he's really opened up, he's funny, but we had that when he was 25, 26.
Right.
So,
And he had hair.
Yeah, not a lot.
Weird.
Not a lot.
Yeah,
Even
a
then,
little
he
while
didn't
at
have
the
a lot.
start. But
to play with Alan was, I think it's always the same thing. Afterwards, you realise what a machine he was. And you, like Rob rightly said, you had Les and Alan. And Les actually asked, what's the difference between me and him? I said, he is driven to score goals.
Really?
Like, he's just wants to score goals. Left foot, right foot. And we had Ian Rush at the time, very later on in his career.
Yeah.
And I said to Rushy, I said, who's best finisher? Best finisher is Robbie Fowler. But the best goal scorer is Alan Shearer because he smash kicks the ball into the goal. left foot, right foot. He's just got a desire to score goals, and that's what drove him on. But I always think, for me, the biggest sacrifice he made for his club was he never bailed out. And he always wanted to be there. That's why a little bit with Kevin, after 18 months, I'd never really had the 6 years or 5 years. For him to leave when we still had a chance, still leave at the end of the year.
Yeah.
We'd beaten Tottenham
It was strange timing.
7-1. And, he walked out and left. And
I think that put, I don't know about you, I think that put us back 10 years, Keegan going.
Yeah.
It put us back 10 years. It was in every
It's only
competition.
until Bobby
still,
come back.
Yeah.
It's
once
only really
came,
until
then we-
Bobby, you started to feel like the Newcastle. I mean, as I said, Robert had it probably 3 or 4 years before me, but that 18 months is a special club. And as I said, 4,000, 5,000 people watching you train, new shirts coming out, 10,000 people outside the club shop, 15,000 season waiting list. Can't go anywhere without, people kissing you and loving you. Peter Beardsley got carried down the big market when we played Sheffield Wednesday.
He don't even
Oh, he's
drink.
only small.
He don't even
isn't
drink.
he?
Yeah, he got on someone's back.
he's had days
They
like
tried
driver.
to lift Rob, but 2 of them it pulled their back out. They were like, oh bloody hell! Can't get that fat arse on my back. But Rude was rude.
You don't want to talk about that.
Football wise.
No, you got on all right, didn't you?
Yeah,
you got on all right.
But it's when he started with. I got on well with Stuart Pearce. He was my room partner.
Right.
He started Nikos, Stuart, Rob Lee, Johnny Barnes, and to me, as I said, I got on well. I actually signed a contract, an extension when I was with him. But it's his. I always remember. I said Tomo, the kit man, who's still there actually, which is great. Tomo. We was playing Leeds, and outside Leeds at Ellen Road, they have all the cinder, the red cinder, and his shoes got dirty. I think we drew the game, and he was going to do the media, so he wore a tracksuit for the game. Rude. Then he had his shoes that was dirty with all the cinder, so he went to Tomo, clean my shoes. Tomo's looked at me. I went, nah, that ain't happening. And I was vice captain at the time because of with Al being out injured or whatever. I said, Rude, I can give them here. I'll clean them. I said, you don't do that to people. You don't ask someone to clean your shoes.
Yeah.
Hey, lovely boy, I'm only. And I said, nah, that's. But he was fine. As I said, with me. He liked me because I was around the club. I'd make sure the staff was okay. I'd make sure young players. So I did things to them. Although, the cheeky sod, I played every game in the FA Cup rounds going up to the Manchester United game, 99, and then we didn't even have the balls to drop me and Shay on the Thursday. We was doing this pattern of play. Harps come in and Griffin come in. And he sent Steve Clark to come over and give me a bib, the other bib. So I said, Shay was only young. I said, what the fuck's going on here? He went, you're not starting. I said, well, why don't he come and tell me? Why can he not walk 10 yards and come and tell me?
Yeah.
But I always remember the time when he left Al out. Me and Gary went in to see Rude and said, Gaff, I hope you don't mind us coming in. It's nothing to do with us. But because I said to Al, he went, no, I'm not playing. So I went, you're not playing Alan? He went, no, I'm not playing him. I said, have you told him? He went, no. I said, well, don't you think you should tell him? He's just England captain and he's your captain.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest game for us. No matter anyone else, we're playing Sunderland.
Yeah.
It's biggest game ever. So we're not worried about anyone else. This is the biggest game. Well, no one told me at Milan. I said, with all due respect, you never got fucking job to AC Milan. You got to go and tell him. He went, I ain't telling him. So, okay.
It was always like that because I remember when I that season I only played the cup games. Because
Really?
I only played the cup games.
I know that.
Yeah, because I was playing in the FA Cup because we had people were obviously cup tied. So I was playing right wing at 34 years old. I was playing right wing. Whenever I came in, I was captain before. And he brought me back for a FA Cup game, and I remember sitting there, and all he'd done was put the board up, and he put the team out, and he's put captain next to Al. So he never told me because and Al went to see him, and he went straight in to see him, and he said. I said exactly the same thing. He said, what Rob's captain when he plays? No, he's not for me, he's not. He said, well, if you told him? No one told me at Milan. And I said, well, you should tell him.
Yeah.
Tell him. So then he, honestly, about 2 minutes later, he pulled me in. He went, you're not captain. That was it.
Well, he told you.
Yes.
He told you.
He said, you're not captain. And he said, he went, if your friend don't want it, I'll give it to Steve Howie.
Oh.
That's exactly what he said. He said, I'll give it to someone else. I'll give it to Steve Howie.
Mind you, he's the only manager that I knew. He went into his office. Normally, you'd have a picture of the kids, or you'd have it. It was the European Cup, so I do get that. But it was a picture of him lifting up the European Cup of himself.
Really?
So
That don't surprise anyone, does it?
No. So that was the only thing. But
I find it fascinating hearing that. I've met Rude once. I've worked with him once, and I had a night out with him in Amsterdam once, and he's amazing company. Well,
yeah.
well after the
Yeah.
fact, he's great fun.
Yeah.
But it sounds like
And
he
Al
was
still gets on. I
nightmare
think
to work with.
Al's played golf with him now and gets on.
Has he
gets
really?
Did he
on.
know your name, or did he just call you lovely boy?
Lovely boy.
No, he did know my name.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Bloody
Probably
hell.
don't know mine.
Well done.
I even got him to put on one of those, you know, his
You
old
did?
dreads wigs. I
Wow.
got him to put on
Did
one
you?
of those.
He
Yeah.
must have been a good
I always
move.
said to him, though, if that's his sexy football, I don't really want to have sex. 'Cause we was like 13th in the league, and all our better players was training with the kids.
Yeah.
So we kept the ball. We were really good at passing the ball, but we couldn't score a goal. But
But
then
we had a
us-
great reserve team.
Yeah. Yeah. There's about 80 million players playing in there.
That's it. Well, and plus a captain that wasn't, by the sound of things.
Yeah.
And then Sir Bobby comes in, and it's just like a silver lining.
what was that like? What was his first day in the
He was
dressing
brilliant.
room like?
He got us in it was at Chesley Street in a circle in training, and he went on one of his, not a rant, but about the club, about how happy he was being there. I was just delighted he knew my name. It was great because he went, Warren, good to have you, and going around. He said, I remember him saying to Alan, this will all be about bloody Alan, this podcast thing. Why do you keep coming for the ball? Why do you keep showing for the ball? And Alan went, well, that fucking idiot used to tell me to come for the ball, i.e. rude.
Yeah.
He went, I want you facing that way, and we're going to get the ball to you that way. So we end up playing, he comes in on the Thursday, we play Sheffield Wednesday, get the weekend, we beat them 8-0, Alan gets 5 goals.
Yeah.
And then from that moment on, there was just a different lift around the ground. He knew the people's names, like the security guard, people in the kitchen. It had that Kevin Keegan feel about it of being buoyant, being proud of where you are, getting there early again. He loved the club. He loved being around players. He made sure that we would do things in the community, and we all did it together. Obviously, he called us the blue chip players. There was like 5 or 6 of us that he relied on and confided in. And he was a pleasure to be around. And I learnt a lot of him as a person, you know, not just as a coach. And I'd had my coaching qualification, but just how to treat people and how to be around people. And even in the good times and the bad times, he was always the same. And he could be a sod, you know. He could.
Oh, yeah.
He had that in him where, you know, for us, and a little bit, you know, 3 years, 4 years later, he just said to me, I was captain. He went, "You're not going to be involved." Pulled me to the side. I was 33. He said, "It's time now for you to move on. Why don't you work with the academy?" I said, "Gaff, I can still run around." He went, "Well, I'm not going to take you because you're my vice captain, so I'm not going to take you to games." So I had about 2 months where I was actually training, not on my own, but I was with the first team. But then when they left, I would do some with the fitness coach until it's the transfer window. But he just did that. He felt it was the right time to move people on. But
Did he tell you, I've never asked you, did he tell you when Derby came in for you or the clubs came in for you?
yeah.
He did?
Yeah.
So he said Derby have come in.
Yeah, he
Do you want
said
to
to me,
speak
"You
to
got a phone call," and Freddie Shepherd, the chairman at the time, was really good, and I had a good relationship with Freddie because I'd done a lot off the field,
Right.
and you know, with the club and with young players. And the big thing with Newcastle is making sure that the community know what's going on with the club. And you know, they used to call me busy bollocks and things like that, but I used to make sure that, you know, we was doing commitments. We would be out there, and you know, we would organise things and whatever, sign shirts and give it to kids and whatever. So Freddie appreciated that. So when the call come in, Freddie went, I think it was Bobby went, "Don't forget, you've got a call. You get chances are you're going to Derby." And that was it.
Wow.
And it was a Thursday, and then I signed on the Thursday night, and that was me gone.
Crikey.
But I'd had a couple of months of like not being involved. But Bobby was, as I said, he was brilliant. It was a shame what happened at the end with the younger players, how the Brat Pack really took over. But you know, the time we had and with Bobby was great. You know, it was back to how we wanted. He just knew, like with foreign players, if we had a weekend off, international break, he would allow them to fly back to wherever, Italy, France, Greece, wherever they was playing. Then he'd say to us lot, "Right, we're going to go and play golf, or we're going to go and do this." And we was like, perfect. You know, the last thing I want to do is go around the Metro Centre with my wife or Rob's wife. You know, it was like we didn't want to do that. So, you know, we would just go and do it. But it was just a really feel good factor. He brought Rob in, brought players in, people around. And, you know, as I said, then he started, Kieran Dyer was there, Bellamy was there, Jermaine Genius started coming in, and Woodgate and people like that. So he got that spirit. Lauren Robert come in as well. So
He could play.
Yeah, he was a good player. Ever seen him on Instagram? He has the fucking life of Riley. All he does is eat food, drink wine, and smoke cigars.
Yeah.
His missus is quite wealthy, isn't she?
Oh, that's where I went wrong.
Yeah, no, that's why we both went wrong. Told you should have got them Londoners. They got nothing, them Londoners. Nothing.
Cockney girls. They're no good.
Takers, they are.
It's got a
I won't be sitting here doing a fucking podcast. That's for certain. I'll be there with a cigar.
Oh dear. No, he was class though. I mean, but your post-playing career has been really interesting, Warren. I mean, you know, you touched on it. You got your coaching badges. And you were actually very involved in America. I mean, you still are. You're Fox Sports, one of their leading pundits, aren't you? Which is amazing. Are you like famous in America? Kind of.
Yeah, I'm probably more famous for being on Fox than I am playing. So yeah, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you get stopped and
Yeah,
mobbed?
Fox, yeah.
How long have you been emigrated for now?
16 years. Mind you, I am busy
16 years.
bollocks, so I'm on every Fox show going. So
Mate, that's the way to do it.
no,
Make
no.
yourself
I've got these
indispensable.
California teeth and
16 years.
At least they're not
He's got a
turkey
son,
teeth.
Yeah,
man.
turkey
He's
teeth.
always going there. He's always
You
going
do
there.
live right- Do you live there then?
yeah. So what happened? I retired in 05. People said it should have been a bit earlier, but I retired in 05.
Well, you finished up with MK Dons. didn't
NK
you?
Dons,
That
yeah.
was-
So I went full circle back to Wimbledon
Yeah.
to help Stuart Murdoch out there as a club. So I went back to them, finished, and then I was in the middle of still doing my pro license, and you have to be at a professional club. So I finished my pro license there, did some work with ITV, BBC and Sky and things like that, and really liked the media, but finished my pro license in 07. And then 08, I had the opportunity to go to America through Sky, through Fox, that was at that time had the Premier League, Champions League, and lots of other leagues as well. And I was coaching at LA Galaxy, and just always been out there on holiday and enjoyed the feel-good factor, the sunshine, as Rob said, the weather, the climate's great where I am in Southern California. It was a big step because, as I said, everything in England was great. My house, my kids, family was here, good friends, good social life, probably too much of a social life, to be honest with you. So, that was another thing, just to go over there and throw myself into it. And it's been a great move. It's been tough, being away from family. You miss football because soccer's growing, but particularly in the last 5 years, the MLS is gone through the roof. The academies that they have, the league structures that they have as well is going there. They love the game. They love the Premier League. They always go out with certain players. NBC have the rights out there, but I always come back, and it's great with the club now, particularly with the new ownership and the new identity that it has, to come back, because we always kept in contact. Me, Rob, Shay, Alan, not so much, but there was a few of us. Bez, we would do things, and just being out there with the quality of life. And it was a big move, but my kids have been out there. I'm a US citizen, but I enjoy coming back to England. But I'm also going to enjoy going back to California as well.
Yeah. Is that you set there now then?
Yeah, you never say never, but I'm not getting any younger, so I'm 55, and I think coaching is something that I love, and that's probably what I'd love to do in the next 15 years in America. But as I said, media's been great. I love it. The league, I do MLS now. I was involved in the Euros, come over to Germany to do that. We've got Gold Cup coming up, and next year in 2026, we've got the World Cup in America.
Yeah.
And Fox has the rights. So that's going to be special, because the last time they had a World Cup, unfortunately, we wasn't in it, 94. And Rob would have been in and around the squad at that time with Taylor.
No, I didn't get that. I didn't make my debut till I was 98.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
No,
So
no,
then,
it was- no,
I was
no,
gonna
no,
say.
no, it was just you're right.
Look at him,
No,
he's
what
gone
am I doing?
see
I was
now.
going to say, hang on, you did, and then
Yeah.
and then you didn't.
No,
you didn't get a
95,
sniff
so it was
under
after
Terry.
that.
After, okay.
That helped me probably because I was so bad that I got.
But
No,
see,
you were in and
95
out,
it
weren't
was,
you?
Jeff Thomas and CP.
95.
Terry wasn't great for you, and then who
No,
replaced
Terry
him?
was good.
Terry
Yeah.
brought me in, no, because he wasn't. Who was the manager? Was
Graham Taylor.
Graham Taylor, yeah. I
Graham
didn't
Taylor.
plan the Graham Taylor
Oh,
at
okay.
all.
That's the one.
Terry came in, and then
Yeah.
I started sort of like Newcastle started taking off, and I started getting in then.
That's
Yeah.
it.
So yeah.
But
you're right,
94. So the World Cup come there would be great. It's in Canada, it's in
Yeah.
Mexico, so it'd be exciting. I was involved in Qatar World Cup. I did the Women's World Cup as well, which was great. So yeah, I mean, it's been great for me. So he knows that what I'm like. I can adapt myself and mix in with people. Yeah,
He can get anywhere.
yeah.
He can get
Well, the
where
thing
we
is,
I
if
can
can
you-
get.
sneak in anyway. Don't worry about
If you
me.
can talk and you've got the experience, then you're
Oh, you
set,
can-
aren't
You
you?
can also
So-
say the looks as well. You can throw that in there as well.
Well, I was going to say, but it was going to sound a bit weird, wasn't
Yeah.
it? You're a good-looking man for 55. Got the tan.
It's the injections. They're
Well,
great.
do you? You don't?
No,
do
no.
you?
I will do in a few years. I'm definitely
Will you?
going to, definitely. Don't worry
He will
about
at
it.
as well.
Alan Shearer's Botox party.
I'm going to have my eyes down there. See if they can do anything about my arse as well. I'm going to have a Kardashian.
And the kids are playing football as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
in America,
I'm lucky enough. I got my eldest one is playing USL, and my youngest one has actually been playing against Messi in Inter Miami. So he's 19 years of age, Ty. He was with there, so he's come against Suarez. He's had a little scuffle with Suarez as well.
Has he?
And Suarez was brilliant. Yeah, Luis Suarez was like, because he apologised afterwards, my son Ty, and Suarez went, no, I like that. I want that. So it's like, okay, cool. But he had Messi. Tells me a story like Messi had come in doing the warm-up, and then they went into a game, and it was about the third or fourth time he's trained against him, like they do the young players against the senior players getting ready for a game. And he said, Dad, I had him. I had Messi like in the corner. He wasn't going to go anywhere. Had his back to me, and like my goalkeeper's 6'5", and if it goes in the far corner, he's going to get it. There was only one place it could go. He went. He did it. He went, he turned and put it right in the corner and did it. So yeah,
he's still got it there, hasn't he? I know it's the MLS, so I appreciate the levels are different.
Can I just? Yeah, it's the MLS is getting better, a lot better. I mean, like I said, being over there and being around. You know, the academies that they're having now with the players, the coaches are getting better. The facilities, more Pacific soccer stadiums. It's not the Premier League, and I'm not saying it will ever be like that, but it's, you know, you look at the players that they're bringing over there now. And Messi, again, you know, has surrounded himself with Busquets and Suarez.
Yeah.
Although Suarez
DeAndre Yedlin.
Yeah, so you can, you can have
all
players,
the greats.
Yeah, all the greats, all the big names. It just rolls off your tongue, doesn't it? But he can still, I mean, he's a genius over there. But it's still, you're against the NFL, which is a monster. It's like our Premier League. It's like clubs trying to, or sports trying to compete with the Premier League and football over here. NFL is its own division, own money motivator. So it's hard to do that. But it's definitely, you know, it's took over because baseball more is now for the older, and the younger generation now are getting into soccer, and, you know, they're trying to, you know, get into their fan base coming along and pushing along, and it's exciting. It's cool. But so, yeah, my young boy's playing.
Brilliant.
Hopefully he gets picked up, and with a UK passport, both of them, my youngest one and my older one, would love to come back over here. My middle one, Kane, has made me a granddad, which wasn't
amazing.
We'd had the conversation. He just met his girlfriend. Like, you know, take your time, tranquilo, take it easy. Me and Candy has said, like, just take your time. And she's pregnant. It was more the fact.
Well, congratulations.
I don't know about you. I couldn't come to terms with being called granddad. Right. I still think I'm 25. So I'm thinking, no way. And then it's granddad. Can you look after granddad? Oh, no. So
well, 55 is pretty young for a granddad, to be fair.
It is, yeah. No, I said to him, could you not bloody wait another 3 or 4 years? At least get me to 60 and then I'll take it there.
So I was 50. Yeah, I was 54, I think, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Were you 50? Oh, wow.
But then footballers always start young. You know, this is what I keep telling myself.
We were told to start young in those days.
Yeah. Got to do what you're told.
Yeah.
There's
not many of us left.
Remember that word hindsight I said about KK? I wish someone had hindsight.
That's it.
I always, me and my wife joke about it, and I don't want this, obviously we took the wrong way. Kids, overrated. Drain your money. We've got grey hair and things like that. You still worry about them now. But.
I saw a thing on social media this morning on the train coming up, and it said, just someone put it on social media, said, me and the wife decided we don't want children. It was a really tough decision, and we're going to tell them tonight. And that just sums up kids, by the way.
Yeah. COVID did it.
Sometimes you've had enough of them.
It was great having kids around you, but at the end of it was like, get out!
But they're amazing. Come on, I got 3, you've got 3, you've got 2. I mean, kids are amazing.
Best thing
change your life.
Every now and again, though, it's like...
Now, we have to talk about Eddie's Boys before we finish, but before we do, there's something that's been playing on my mind since I knew you were coming on, and thank you for coming on, by the way. I really appreciate it. I pulled something out of the bag when we were sitting with Bruno and Joelinton, and it was a set of wigs. And I put one on you immediately when that's Warren Barton. So I've brought the wig here, because it would be rude not to.
Have you got it with you?
I've got it with me. I've got the Rob Lee as well.
Oh, yeah, the Rob Lee, yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen? You might not have seen the Rob Lee.
I haven't seen the Rob Lee. Let me have a look at the Rob Lee one.
The Rob Lee.
You can imagine what colour it is.
Where is it?
Probably clean your shoes with Rob's.
Rude would.
Rudy would.
The Rob Lee seems to have got caught in the main one. Here it is. Here's the Rob Lee.
The doggy, yeah.
That's the see. It's close, isn't it? It's nearly there.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad, is it?
So
That was when he was finished playing.
So this is the
Oh wow, that is
the Warren Barton.
beautiful.
I
Do
thought,
you ever remember when they did it?
wanna have
With,
a go?
Yeah, I'll have a go. Of course I will. I don't mind putting it up. It's like my
Look,
hairy
right there,
chest.
look at us.
Do you remember when they did it with
Mine's no
Donald?
different, is it?
No, you look, I didn't even
Put the
know you
wig
had it
on.
on.
Put the wig on,
I looked at that screen and I'm like, I'm sure I've just put something on my head.
I wasn't as long as this.
no, I didn't remember it being
No, it
as
wasn't
long as that.
This is
but
more of a
it's-
Darren Peacock,
Yeah,
actually.
Darren
More of a
Peacock. Barry
Darren
Venison.
or a Barry
Darren
Venison.
Venice, yeah.
Yeah.
Venice was out here. It was like,
yeah,
that was
yeah. That's,
backcombed
I
and
thought venison
Yeah.
because I thought as soon as he said it, I don't remember you having that
Oh,
long
yeah,
hair,
the
and now
centre-
you're
No,
on.
no, no.
Centre
It
part.
was
Centre
never
part,
that long.
yeah.
It was.
Remember when they did it with Kenny Rogers? When someone dressed up as Warren Barton, it's supposed to be Dolly Parton. They did it was on one of them shows, and they dressed up as Warren Barton, and Kenny Rogers is doing the song, and he didn't get it. He obviously didn't understand who I was. There
There you go. There it is.
Look at that.
Look at
That's
I think it's
amazing.
more like Darren, isn't it? More like Darren than anything else.
that. That's how you'd look if you left it long.
Yeah. I'm going to stick
that's
it down
brilliant.
here. Here we go. Something like that. Here we go. I love it. It might even be like that.
Oh, I'm glad I brought it
Yeah,
now.
that's
You can
it.
you
You
can
can
take
put
it
it
off now, Rob. You can- yeah. Brilliant times. So Ed, look, last one on Eddie's Boys because it's lovely talking about the amazing times, the times that I grew up with watching you lads play, and it was phenomenal. Reliving them is just brilliant. But also we've got a current team that. We won't talk about the final. We're recording this 2 days before we go to Wembley, but you guys won't see this for a few weeks. So we'll know that we beat Liverpool then.
Yeah, and
But,
I've got the
you know,
trophy.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Good times. But cup final aside, because it's so difficult, because we could be history makers. This team, 2025 could be amazing. But regardless of that, just how good is this side now? Because Rob said they'd give you guys a game on their day. What do you think? What's your take on them?
Yeah, I think they would give us a game in the first half. Yeah. Again, I think we had a deeper bench as well, I think. But as I said to you before, I was lucky enough. I'd had 5 years in the Premier League before, 6 years because it was the old First Division. But the style of football that Newcastle played when Andy was there and Peter and Rob and Scott Sellers, that group. And then you put on top of that the likes of Ferdinand, Batty, Asprilla, Ginola. There was top class players, and had Philip Albert at his time was excellent as well. I don't know whether they could handle our front line, if I'm being honest. If you think when you put Ginola, Keith, Les, and Peter, I think that would be Bruno. I love him. Rob would overrun Bruno. I
think so?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
No,
Yeah, there you go.
No,
Okay.
I think, someone asked me a question. A lot of Newcastle fans have done that. Out of this team, who would get in our team?
Yeah.
And I'm honest enough, Trippier would get in. Trippier was a better player than me.
Oh, wow.
Or is a better player than me.
Okay.
He's got the free kick. You don't have to fucking agree, by the way.
I wasn't. I always take Bez out.
Yeah. Oh, can't pick on the little
Always
fella.
take a little
Yeah,
fella.
get on the little fella.
take him out.
He's
I'll
a
take him
younger.
out.
He must be. He's little. Get him out of the team.
Trips
no.
is not as quick as you, though.
No.
He's not as strong as you. That's
No.
the thing I remember when you all signed. So we signed Les, you, Ginola, and Xhaka as well. I remember thinking, blimey, these are big guys. You know what I mean? Because we had Mark Cottager was a good right back, but he's quite slight. Scott Sellers quite slight.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought at the time we're now physically a strong team. Do you know what I mean? We look physically strong, and I think when we started playing the games, we won the first
7
5
or
or
8,
6. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And then we looked physically like a really strong team, and I think that made all the difference of having people who were physically stronger now, who could play as well.
Definitely.
But this team now is, when they play at their best, like the Arsenal game, I think when they played like that, when they press and put people under pressure, I think they're as good as anything. I do agree with what Bruno said.
Yeah.
Isaac is, I think, a phenomenal player. I think he's talented. I think there's still more to come. Gordon obviously won't be involved in the final, but he's a top player as well. Murphy, I love him. He's got playing on energy and the love of the game and the love of the club. But I just think our team had a bit of an X factor, and I think that's where our next step up for Newcastle is that it's great now, 2 cup finals in 3 years. The expectation is there to do that. Like when we went there, it's to the 4 of us that's coming is to win it. We wasn't coming there just to compete. It was to try and win trophies. Unfortunately, we failed. But this team is special. It's got a real togetherness that we had, and I think that comes from Eddie. As I said, I think he got it the first day when he went into training early and he left late, but still managed to stop and sign an autograph. that for me really stood out, that he understands the club.
Yeah. He got COVID from one of the fans, didn't he?
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I don't know if it was from one of the fans, but
Oh,
that was the rumour that was going round.
Oh,
Because
wow.
he missed the first game as manager. He had to do it from the hotel room because
I think the manager at the club, as Warren says, he has to get the club. So
Yeah.
Keegan got it. You know,
Yeah.
his dad was a Geordie. Bobby got it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, actually, you have to like live up there, and you have to breathe. The
When you say
Geordies.
live the club, it's people. What does that mean? It's like the fans are important.
Yeah.
Like when you play for clubs, it's like it's about the club and about the fans are the most important thing, because without them, you ain't got a football club, and without the football club doing well, the city hasn't got a heart. So put all that together, where it's now, it feels like the football club. It has a heartbeat in there. Okay, they're talking about maybe moving and. But that's more for finance and revenue and everything else because of the modern game. But the most important thing is that club. And that's something that really identified with me when I first went there. It's like, normally people, you can drive in, go out the way. Like I said, I probably wasn't experienced to that. But you had to sign the autographs, whether you liked it or not. And David obviously would do it, and he was a bit PSG, and maybe he could walk in and sneak in the back door and go away. But he was out there taking pictures. And, like these people have been drinking all day, got a hamburger in their hand, they're having a picture with Dan. You got to go with it. And, But yeah, this group of players, and I just felt that we had something. If I went toe to toe with all of them, I think we would win it, because I don't think they could handle our front line the way that they played. And when Peter and Les was on fire, them two, they was unplayable. Yeah. And then you throw Rob into that, and Lee Clark done a great job. And then whether it was Bez pushing up. With Ginola, but we had the opportunity to say, it was easy for me and Keith. I just used to put it in the space. He used to run and cross it, or roll it in at Rob. Rob would flick it around the corner and he'd be off. So, yeah, I just think they're not quite there yet. And that's not saying, listen, we never won anything. So if they win the cup, great. And I'd be the first one to cheer them on and to do that. But like I said, Bruno's a top player, but he ain't quite Rob Lee yet.
How's he compared to Sandro Tonali? What do you think?
And he's fucking good looking, is he?
Because a lot of people, there's this ongoing
and it's
debate.
amazing where Tonali was seen as a box-to-box 8, and that's where Rob obviously played most of his career.
Yeah, that's why I mention it.
But why he was, again, I don't want to build him up too much, but what he done better, he then played as a 6 and was probably one of the best number 6s in that position at that time in the league.
Right.
I know, like Makelele come in and other players like that, but he changed his game and said, right, I'm going to sit back. And his natural reaction for 12 years was to run forward box to box. But he realised that...
legs are gone.
Yeah, he can't do that. His arse got fatter. So I'm going to sit here, but I'm going to spray the ball around. I mean, like Alan's goal against Aston Villa, there ain't too many people who can put it on a dime. And also, what a finish by Alan. It was unbelievable. But the pass weren't bad.
That's it. It does. The pass gets overlooked a lot.
Dropped on a dime.
I think Tonali's been much better as a sitter. Releasing Bruno.
When they first did it, they couldn't work. Yeah. And I think Bruno's more effective further up the field because he can find a pass and he can give it to Isaac and be in that area. So
or score a goal.
Yeah,
Well, I think I like with Bruno. He's not. I think in today's game, I don't know what you think, Warren, but everyone's scared of losing the ball. It's all about stats of keeping the ball and doing. Bruno don't care. If he loses it trying to do like a flick over someone's head, a bit like Peter Beardsley, wouldn't it? Peter would lose it 9 times out of 10. And on the 10th time, he'd get somebody in, or he'd beat 3 players and score.
Yeah,
and we've lost that, I think, in the game.
And you're talking about like Eddie getting it. I think Bruno gets it.
Yeah,
the pumping of the fist. I've spoken to some players. It's like, typical old player. Oh, get some on. I love it.
Me too.
I love the passion. I love that he wants to do it for the fans and everything else. And I don't know about you, Rob, but like, not a day goes past you think, I wish we'd won the league. And it wasn't really for us. But for that, you see Leicester have won it. You see Blackburn have won it. You see Liverpool have won it. To have Newcastle up there.
Chelsea have won it.
Chelsea have won it, yeah. But they bought their way.
Let's do that.
Yeah, it's just there. Who worries about that?
We're not allowed, are we? That's the trouble.
To answer your... they'd give us a good run. But I do feel we'd have enough to...
They're as good as team that we have had for... since us, probably.
Yeah, they're the best team we've had for 20 plus years, but not as good as you guys. Interesting. Few signings yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whether they can do it on the field and off the field, that's still another matter, whether they can do it on the field and off the field.
I think we'd batter them in the pub.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, it is a different culture, isn't it? You know, that I mean, listening to you guys when we don't have the mics on, and I won't share any secrets, obviously, but you had a second life off of the field, whereas you get the sense that the modern footballers, I'm not talking about our lads, I'm talking about most Premier League players in general, it is a lot more kind of science-based. You're eating this, you're drinking that, you're not going to these party places, you're going to bed at this time. You know, it's all sort of...
Jack Grealish don't.
Well, maybe Grealish is the exception to the rule, but you find a lot of them aren't drinkers.
I think, you know what? I think there's too much of, you know, you go to a club these days and they must have 50, 60 staff.
I did it the other day. I watched an MLS team I was doing, and they had 22 staff on the field. 22 staff on the field, let alone the ones that are inside. So God knows what they're getting done.
Two per player.
Yeah.
It's like that Jim Ratcliffe. Like, he's getting rid of people, and he said we had somebody who was I don't know, a mind guru or something, paying him 175 grand a year. And you think, I can understand him thinking, why am I paying somebody? I don't even know what you do.
Well, his cards aren't exactly working though, are they? I
No,
mean,
but
how many points have they got?
No, you're right. But if I just heard him speaking.
Maybe
to
that
Gary
mind
Neville,
guru
mate.
was the
No,
secret.
And just for the record as well, we had a good time, but we when we trained, we trained. We wasn't
God,
like Liverpool at that time where they could big drinkers like that going out. Arsenal, you know, going out with Adams and all that. We would go out, but we never had someone that was.
We do it at the right time.
Yeah.
So we do it right when we're not playing.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Most of the time,
Sunday night.
Most of the time, actually, we'd go out with the wives and girlfriends after games.
Yeah.
We'd go out with our wives and girlfriends in a huge group, and then maybe on a Monday we'd go out. If we had no game during the week, we'd go out with the lads. I mean, so it wasn't. It gets built up to we.
And also Newcastle has got a great vibe. The city, people go out. I've got friends of mine that travel up there to go and have a night out because it's such a great vibe. Yeah, the energy around the place and the people.
But I think the fans liked it as well, didn't they? Like, keep meeting up with us and say, "Oh, the lads are in the pub there, or they're down the quayside there." And
They would love it.
Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah.
Warren, if I
could,
could,
their team.
if I could put you in a time machine now, because it's an interesting one, because a lot of people would say absolutely not, because of what's happened in life afterwards and being a parent and being a granddad now and all the rest of it.
I don't need to
don't like that.
Yeah, remember, I didn't like Pops. Don't call me Pops.
But if I could put you in a time machine and drop you back into the Entertainers, and that's it, you start again from there, would you take it, or are you happy where you're at?
No. You know, I loved every minute of it. I loved my career. I was, played non-league football. I played with Maidstone in the lower leagues. I played for the Crazy Gang. I played for the Entertainers. All I ever wanted as a young player to play for England and play in the cup final. I was able to do that, and I had a great time. I miss it every day. You get emotional with it. You see the thing with Jason McAteer and getting emotional because we had such a good time, because we're such good friends, and you don't want to sound like an old codger, but we are now. But it goes like that. I remember sitting at the back of the bus thinking, "Oh, this is great. It's going to be there forever." And then, lo and behold, I'm sitting next to the physio and we're having a conversation about a pension and how many miles to the gallon does your car do, rather than at the back about what nightclub you're going to and how many birds you're going to go to take him with you. So it changes. But as I said, I don't want to get too emotional with it, but I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I loved the training. We love being around people, good people. We've lost good people like Gary, Pavel Cernacek, people like that. I've bumped into Philip Albert, who I'd not seen for 20 years. And to be honest with you, I didn't recognise him. I really didn't. But then he went, Warren. He did the voice, and it was like, bloody hell. And it was like we'd never been away chatting to him. But yeah, it was a special time. And the people, I just got married, having kids, and the way the people looked after us up there, the chairman, Freddie Shepherd, Freddie Fletcher, Kevin, Terry McDonald, all them people, Arthur Cox that was around. And even after that, with John Carver, who was there as a coach, who's still coaching. And it was a special time. It was a great time, and you can never get it back, but I'll never forget them times. It was brilliant. And that's why when I see the team do so well and Eddie, I just know what it means to the people out there. When they go into work the next day as a cab driver, or they're opening the bakeries up, Greg's, or whatever, or even in the club. I remember talking to people didn't want to go into the club or wear their wet tops because Newcastle was in such a slump and the way they was being treated. So now in knowing how the feeling is and what it's going to be like in a final, in a match day, you can never take away, Rob, can you? When we used to walk down, and you see it now with the games that we have, and then you used to walk up the stairs and the roar, like now the hairs on your back and neck goes up. I did appreciate it then because, like I said, I played non-league. But every time, like people say, well, what's your best memory? I had 220 games for them.
Yeah.
All of them were.
Yeah.
But all of them
Love
was
that.
fun. All of them
Love
was
that.
great. And, you know, the regret is not winning. But I knew at the time, and Rob was probably a bit different because he modelled his game, but I'd given everything. When Bobby said it's time to go, I probably had another year in me of having to play for Newcastle with all the stuff that goes with it, of all the expectation, of all the pressure and all. And I'd given everything. I'd given all I had, and I was ready then at 35 to call it a day and move on. And I'm quite happy with that. But if you'd asked me, would I take back them other 7, 8 years, I'd bite your hand off. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Fair enough.
Ditto.
Yeah. No, I knew you were going to say
I've
that.
said it many times. I've said it many times.
Yeah.
Best time of my life, on and off the pitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think it was a great time for our families. Like my wife, you know, with kids, and like they got on with Anna and other kids and Louise, and we made it fun, you know. Like, and then when, like you would speak about, like the area Newcastle, we went up to Bamber Castle, we'd go to Lumley Castle,
Yeah.
we'd go to different places and explore and be there. And obviously, yeah, we'd have a drink or whatever, we'd have fun, but genuinely, we liked being around each other. And there was that little group as well that we'd have. And then like Nobby Solano, you got a guy from Peru.
Yeah.
That used
Who's
to
still
play-
playing
Who's
now.
still playing.
Yeah.
That would, at 11 o'clock at night, we'd be in a hotel somewhere, you'd hear the trumpet down the hallway, you know, and it'd be going off. And you're thinking, it can only be, like, you can't imagine Man United doing that, or you can't imagine, but we did it. And, you know, it was all part of what we was trying to, you know, emulate, that we was up there together. And maybe having that distance from other clubs, we was cocooned up there. And, yeah, we had a lot of fun, and you know that's why we still go up there and
Brilliant.
looked after.
Brilliant. It's good to know it sounds as amazing as I thought it was at the time. You know, you just kind of picture it being brilliant. I mean, that's it. Unless you want to do the famous person in your phone line, which I know is one of your go-to questions. Would you like to ask Warren who is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll ask everybody. Yeah. So we've done this thing because my son plays for Wrexham, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
So me and, you know, like, you used to have who's your most famous person in your phone book. Mine was Ant and Dec. Now Elliot's got bloody Ryan Reynolds
Okay.
and Ant-Man. So who's the most famous person in your phone book, being that you're an American citizen now?
Yeah. Pierce Morgan would be probably
Would
the
it?
most
Pierce-
famous.
that's
I
a
got,
good one.
I got one.
That's a
yeah, I
good
got
one.
his. Yeah, so
James
Pierce.
Bay had Mick Jagger, which was a
Ah.
Yeah,
so
I think Mick Jagger
you do a
trumps
great
everyone
Mick Jagger
so far.
impression,
Doesn't
can't
he?
Oh
remember
yeah, I
rightly,
can do a
on the
good Mick
dance
Jagger.
floor.
Yeah, I can do a Rod Stewart. I did have Stings. But
Did
it was
you?
his PR person. So does that not really count? But a quick story about famous people, which can I? I was
Yeah, of course.
fucking delighted with this. You got, so I was in Vegas. We've gone with my wife. We're staying in the Wynn Hotel. Going Cipriani's is a restaurant that we love going to. So we go in there for lunchtime, getting ready to watch Sting in concert.
Nice.
He's obviously a big Newcastle fan as
Yeah.
well. So we're going in there, and the maitre d' comes over and said, "Oh, glad that you're in here." He likes his football with Fox, so he watches it.
Lovely.
He said, "Oh, Sting's coming in a little while." It's like, "How long?" He said, "Well, about 30 minutes." I said to Candy, "Take your time.
Yeah,
Take
yeah.
your time.
We'll have all the stars.
yeah, just take your time. Just keep going." So we're eating. Then Sting comes in with his wife sitting opposite. So Candy's, "Let's go and say something." I said, "I can't go and say. I feel
What?
embarrassed."
You didn't say.
I know. Listen, I didn't say anything, but I could see him looking over and his wife.
Were you having a tantric moment with him, Warren? Because
Yeah,
he
there was
does,
a little
you know,
bit-
he's known to have
going on.
tantric moments,
Yeah,
isn't
so
he?
I was looking over. So anyway, we finished, and I walk out, and Candy, like bless her, she's going, "Why didn't you say that? She just said something, you know,
Yeah.
I'm going to his concert." Blah, blah. So as we're walking out, I hear Warren. Turn around, it's Sting. Comes
on.
out. I was like,
Come on.
yes. He went, "Oh, I thought it was you." I said, "Well, obviously I knew it was you, but I didn't want to interrupt you. You know, you're sitting there. No, you should have come over. You should come and see us." So we're chatting away about his concert and how it was. And he was going about the first thing he said about, "Oh, isn't the team doing well? I'm looking at the team we used to love." Because I think he come to one of our finals. Him and Brian Ferry was one of our finals. There's another legend as well.
Brian
So.
Ferry, come on,
But
train, yeah.
Sting was there. So that's my claim to fame, that I've had him running outside, chasing me, calling me Warren.
That's class.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I liked it better if he started singing Warren Barton Centre
Should've-
Park. That would have been so good.
But if you go in concert, it was brilliant. He was just there.
Yeah.
I said, "Show me that move that you do in yoga." I'm in Vegas.
Don't play the Englishman one.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
hear
yeah,
the centre
yeah.
parting one, yeah?
Yeah, do the centre
Open
parting
with
one.
that.
Yeah.
Come on, Mr. Sting. Oh, what a brilliant way to finish. You have been with Adopted Geordies, brought to you by BetMGM. Our very special guest, Mr. Warren Barton, has been absolutely brilliant. Rob Lee, the captain, as always. And I've been Andy Jaye. We will see you again very soon. Bye-bye.